The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
On the show, I'm sure, Chris, you can write your letters to Chris Davis and we'll try to make the show better for you.
Square, Northeastern, don't ask the zip, I don't know.
Survey says.
The price is wrong, Bobby.
It's May 16th, 2023, and I'm your host and trivia master, Tim Polatin, and it's time for trivia. I'd like to welcome you all to our first broadcast and a little background trivia. This show is actually a reboot from a 1980s era call-in trivia show. So thanks to the support of our loyal listeners and avid viewers, we're able to take this show into the 21st century. Tonight's show is brought to you by Michael Associates Ltd. And also as a thank you to our supporters, all of the questions tonight were made in collaboration with the Easton Historical Society. We're launching this program with a complete Easton-themed trivia night tonight. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this program works. If you're watching this as a rerun or on demand at a later date, you can always play along in spirit, like your favorite television game show. But if you're watching this live right now, you have the opportunity to participate and potentially win some prizes. When I read each question, you'll have a minute to send in your answers before I reveal the answer on air. Now, how you can do this is with our easy online answer sheet. You can either use it in your browser as a Google form, or you can scan the QR codes that you've seen floating around with your smartphone. Now, if you do that, you'll notice there are only two fields to fill in, your name and your answer. You'll keep reusing this submission form for every question, and if you want a little bit of a pro tip, put your name in advance to cut down on that time and improve your responses, because response time will be important. Into that round's drawing. At the end of each round, a random name will be drawn from our winner pool. So if you're one of the top 3 correct, quickest responses, you get added to the pillowcase of wonders. It's a good place to be. And from there, at the end of each round, there'll be 3 rounds of gameplay. We will draw a name to win one of our prizes. So our prizes tonight are brought to you by, or from, Corfinios, Langwater Farm, and Oaks Ames Memorial Hall, who is putting forward a Town Spa Pizza gift card. So if that makes sense to you, in order to max out your chances, you'll need to be the top 3 answerer for all round 1 questions, and that's how you get your best odds for the round 1 drawing. Now let's keep this match above the belt. Siri and Alexa are not members of your team or your brain trust, and only 1 answer per person per question, please. So now's your chance to get those answer sheets locked and loaded, because we're gonna jump into the game momentarily. Sometimes there are multiple acceptable answers. Oh, I just lost sound in my head. Sometimes there are 3 or 4 different ways to say the same correct thing, and those I'm batting for you. So if you say something that's technically correct, in the world of trivia, that's the best kind of correct. In the same vein, spelling doesn't count. Do your darndest. If it looks right, feels right, if you phonetically sounded it out correctly, I'll get you that credit as long as you don't accidentally spell out something else that's completely wrong. So we'll be jumping into round 1, and in these questions, you'll have a minute to answer before we go on to the next one. So if you're ready, I am. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Before we jump in with the first question, they'll also appear underneath me in text. We're getting some people filing in here saying the audio has quite the echo. So that's visitor feedback. And people are testing the form and it's working. I'm getting those. All right, so let's put a minute on the clock, and we'll start running that when the text appears on the screen. Round 1, question 1. 700 plus Ames shovels are archived in the nation's only shovel museum found in what Easton venue? We're looking for a venue here in Easton, Massachusetts that you can find the Shovel Museum, where if you feel like visiting it, you can see over 700 Ames shovels, the shovels that built America, so to speak. So the clock is running. Get those answers in. All right, again, looking for a venue here for the Shovel Museum in Easton, Massachusetts. Again, these are all Easton-themed questions. So where can you find the Shovel Museum? Not many of those in the world, but if you wanted to find a shovel museum, this is the place to go. All right, and 3, 2, 1, and that's time. All right, the answer for that first question is at Stonehill College. Stonehill College here in Easton has one of the nation's only shovel museums. And Stonehill College used to be the property of Frederick Lothrop Ames. So it is a former Ames property. Very thematic, very thematic. Moving right along to question number 2. Question number 2, get ready, locked and loaded. Here it comes. All right, modern day Easton falls squarely in the territory of what Native American nation? We're looking for a Native American nation. You may know it as a tribe, perhaps, but more recognized as a nation. What is the name of the Native American population that Easton falls squarely into? The clock is running. We're looking for a Native American population. All right, it looks like the answers are coming in, and you're halfway through your time to think it up. If you don't even know what's the right answer, send us in a Native American nation. I want to keep saying fun things about it, but I don't want to accidentally give it away. There's some good hints into there. All right, and that clock is ticking, and that's your time. So the Native American nation that Easton falls squarely within is the Wampanoag Nation. The Wampanoag Nation, most famous for being the first Thanksgiving under their sachem, Massasoit, someone you've probably also heard of. The Wampanoags first populated the Easton area. All right, up next for question number 3, we're looking for what is the name of the Easton village known for forging cannonballs during the Revolutionary War? Now, Easton is full of all these different, I guess in Boston you'd call them neighborhoods or boroughs in New York. We may be smaller than Boston and New York, but Easton has all these separate village names. So if you're a true Eastonite, you may know your separate villages. Perhaps it's just a street sign, square, or a plaza name. But Easton has this wonderful collection of smaller villages. Which village was most famous for being where cannonballs were forged during the Revolutionary War? Some good Revolutionary War history here. A lot of Revolutionary War history. The baseball fields, Militia Park. That was the muster field for the militias. So minute companies and militia companies would meet at the muster if they were ever called. So we had a rich history for that war as well. But we're looking for the name of an Easton village. The name of an Easton village. All right, and there's your time. That is now known as Furnace Village. Furnace Village is the name of the village that had those forges and the embers and smoke of the furnaces that helped smelt all that iron down into cannonballs. All right, let's get a little bit broader scope here for question number 4, moving right along in this first round, the halfway mark. We'll have 7 questions. F.L. Olmsted was commissioned to design Easton's Rockery in 1882, 25 years after what most notable project of his? So we're looking for a Frederick Law Olmsted project, one of his most notable projects that he did 25 years before he did his rockery here. Frederick Law Olmsted, a very famous landscape architect, landscape architecture. So we're looking for what project did he do elsewhere 25 years before he did Easton's Rockery. Frederick Law Olmsted. And let's see. There we go. Fun fact, Frederick Law Olmsted Jr. took over the company, and when his dad retired, he dropped the junior. So it actually looks like Frederick Law Olmsted has been designing open spaces for more than 120 years, longer than his lifespan. All right, clock is ticking. We're looking for, right here, what most notable project of Frederick Law Olmsted's did he do 25 years before he did the Easton Rockery? All right, and that's your time. The answer for this, Central Park in New York City. Central Park in New York City was his most notable project. He also did Boston's Emerald Necklace and other small areas you may or may not have heard of, like Cambridge's Fresh Pond and Northeaston's Rockery. All right, this one's a little tricky, but you can throw in your best guess anyway. Question number 5, for how many consecutive terms was Oliver Ames III governor of Massachusetts? So just looking for a number here, not a range of years or any of that. How many terms did Governor Oliver Ames III govern Massachusetts? Fun fact, right across the street from the ECAT studios is the Governor Ames Estate, now a property of the trustees of reservations. So wonderful place to visit dawn to dusk. That's where the governor lived, Governor Oliver Ames III. And this is the Oliver Ames that our high school is named after. So you may think it's Oliver Original, the shovel baron, but it was Governor Oliver Ames for his rich philanthropy. So he was the governor of Massachusetts. Looking for how many terms did he serve? How many terms here? The answers are coming in. You can give your best shot. There's no harm in guessing wrong, I suppose. So give it your all right here in the next 1 second. All right, and that's your time. We're cutting off that question. And the answer here was 3 one-year terms. At that time in the 1800s, the governor of Massachusetts was elected every year. So he served for 3 years, 3 terms. They later bumped that up to 2-year terms, and now the governor of Massachusetts serves a 4-year term, which is easier on us, the voting people, to not have a governor's election every year. All right, moving on. So there are only 7 questions in the first round. Here's number 6. Rounding it down. What word did the Ames family incorporate into Easton's public library system when they commissioned it? So the Ames family is well known as the benefactor of Easton. This town was built on shovels. The Ames family also commissioned our public library system, one of the earliest ones around. And what word did they want to throw into this new public library system? Something that thrives and exists to this day. You might have to look at your library card to get a hint if you're a card-carrying member of your local library. All right, time is ticking. What word is what we're looking for did the Ames family incorporate into the public library system when they commissioned it? And that's our time. That word is free. The Ames Free Library. Because as they commissioned it as a public benefit, they wanted it to be clear that this wasn't a private institution. This was public and it's free. And to this day, it still remains named the Ames Free Library. All right. So moving on to our last question of round 1 before we draw our first round winner. Here's your last question for round 1. We're looking for, what is the name of either the witch or wizard of Easton? So 2 correct answers on this one. You can either give me the witch of Easton's name or the wizard of Easton's name, aka the warlock of Easton. They were both related, so that's an interesting fact. But the witch and wizard of Easton, one of them is commemorated with an Easton Conservation Commission sign erected in 1999 on Mill Street. So if you remember that sign, you at least saw one of these names. We're looking for the name of the witch or wizard of Easton. The witch or wizard of Easton. Easton's famous for a lot of different supernatural activity, primarily because of the Hockomock Swamp. The Hockomock Swamp is a very important location to the Wampanoag people. Hockomock is an Algonquin dialect, meaning a place where many souls dwell. So being a dwelling place for souls, we are a hotbed of supernatural activity, and that's how we get a witch and a wizard of Easton. All right, and that's time right there. The correct answer was either, let's see, Nathan Seeley, spelt like Sele, Nathan Seeley, or Thankful Buck, who was born Thankful Seeley before she married into the Bucks, which Bucks Field is right there off of Pequannock as well. So Thankful Buck, it's a wonderful sort of Protestant name. Thankful Buck and Nathan Seeley, either Nathan or Thankful would have done. All right, and with that, we have our round 1 concluded. We're going to take a very brief break, and when we come back, we'll be drawing for our first prize.
There's a storm.
Join me, Priscilla Almquist-Olsen, to explore the town of Easton and its interesting, engaging, ordinary, and extraordinary people, and meet a smorgasbord of guests, including artists, authors, musicians, business owners, community organizations, clergy, local leaders, etc., etc., etc. Community Forum at 3 p.m. on Thursdays and 1:30 p.m. on Saturdays. See you then.
And we're back. All right, so you've all been logged in sequential order of your correct answers. We're all entered into this wonderful pillowcase. We'll be playing this first round for a $50 Town Spa gift card provided by the Oaks Ames Memorial Hall. So that's what we're playing for. And we have Trev. Trev, you are our round 1 winner. So ECAT will have to track you down. You can raise your hand on Zoom, and if you're playing with Zoom. Otherwise, we will reach out to you. But round 1 goes to Trev. All right, so now we're going to be jumping into round 2. Same thing as round 1. You'll still have a minute as we go down the questions, and our top 3 quickest correct answerers will be added into the pillowcase for our next drawing. Round 2 will be playing for Langwater Farms. So without any further ado, load those up, get ready to go. Here's a minute on the clock. Round 2 Question 1 on your screens. F.L. Olmsted designed the rockery after the cairn-style monuments of what country? So another F.L. Olmsted question, but not specifically about what he did, about the style of the rockery is modeled after these cairn-style monuments of what country? We're looking for a country for round 2, question 1 right here. So get your names in and get your answers in. Looking for a country. All right. So these cairn-style monuments. Three, two, one. All right, and we're in. The most correct answer was Scotland. Scotland is what he based it off of, but I'll also give credit to anyone that said Ireland or England, since they can also be found there. But if I was going strict, he based it off the Scottish ones. But if you said Ireland or England or Wales, no one said Wales, we would have counted you correct. All right, question number 2. Question number 2. In which decade was the Eastern Railroad decommissioned? The Eastern Railroad, you may be familiar with the railroad tracks that go plumb through Easton, no longer has train cars going down it. We're looking for not what year specifically, that might be a little tough, but attainable would be what decade. In what decade was the Eastern Railroad decommissioned? When the last train car tumbled through northeastern Massachusetts, or I guess southeastern as well. Looking for when the Eastern Railroad was decommissioned. Okay, we're getting those answers in. Again, just looking for your general decade right here. Yeah, I see the answers coming in. You're on the right track in the fact that what we're looking for when I say decade. All right, so we're all in, and the answer is the 1960s. The last train tumbled through here in 1968. 1968, so still recent memory for a lot of Eastonites. The last train came through here in 68. All right, so that was more modern history. Let's go back even further. Here's question number 3. Easton played a role in what war of the 1670s between English settlers and the Native American Confederation? So this was a confederation of Algonquin nations against the English settlers. We're looking for the name of this war of the 1670s. It was per capita one of the costliest and bloodiest that this land has seen, but it doesn't count as one of our American wars since it was a war with the British colony. So the bloodiest and costliest American war is still the Civil War, and this wasn't the costliest war that the Brits ever had. They faced a lot more steeper problems than that. But we're looking for a war of the 1670s that Easton played a big role in. All right, we're down to about 12 more seconds. Name me a war that happened before the Revolution. 2 and time. All right, we were looking for the King Philip's War. King Philip's War, that was in the 1670s. And King Philip was our anglicized name for Metacomet, the sachem of the Wampanoags, who inherited that from his much more popular father, Massasoit. Easton's Hockomock Swamp was his military headquarters. His military headquarters right there. All right, rounding down to question number 4. What political office was held by Oaks Ames, of which our Oaks Ames Memorial Hall is built in honor of? So we're looking for that Oaks Ames Memorial Hall was built in honor of. What political office did he hold? We're not talking about the Oaks Ames that lived at Borderland State Park. He was a Harvard botanist. But what political office was held by Oaks Ames, of which our Oaks Ames Memorial Hall was commissioned and built in honor of? All right, they're coming in. Yeah, so if you're thinking about it too hard, try to narrow it down to political offices. I'll give you a hint. He wasn't president of the United States. Three, 2, and time. He was Congressman Oaks Ames. So he was in the House of Representatives as a congressman. So close but no cigar for governor or senator. He was a congressman or a U.S. representative. Those would be the acceptable terms. All right, this one's kind of fun, so give it your best shot. Here's question number 5. Get in your name. The question is, Easton's horse thief of the late 1700s, George White, was sentenced to be branded with a capital H where on his body? So, how's that for a justice system in the late 1700s? George White, famous horse thief and leader of a band of horse thieves here in Easton, Massachusetts, he was brought before a judge and his sentence was to have a large capital H branded where on his body? So we're looking for a body part for here. Throw it out there. Where was George White branded with a capital H? Capital H, okay. We're about halfway through there. Sort of brainstorm. Put yourself into the britches of a 1790s judge, and you just caught a horse thief, a leader of a band of horse thieves. His sentence is to be branded. How? Where? Now tough. All right, we're ticking through. Time. Okay. He was branded on his forehead. How's that for a scarlet letter? No hiding that. He had a big capital H branded on his forehead for being caught as the leader of a gang of horse thieves here in Easton. That's some fun history for you. And, good honest shot for a guess of a body part. All right, rounding on 2 more questions for this round. Question number 6. Which of Easton's ornate churches is famous for a near-priceless stained glass piece by New York's John Lafarge? John Lafarge, he did a lot of works with H.H. Richardson. And he was commissioned to do a beautiful stained glass piece for what church here in northeastern Massachusetts? Now here we got, over the years, about 26 churches in this town. Even right now as it stands, I don't have a good number. It's more than a dozen. But try to think of these ornate churches, ones that would have stained glass window. This, near priceless for the age and era that it was. All right, ticking right through to name a church. So a specialist in stained glass he was in the 1850s. And he did a lot of stuff in New York City as well. All right, so in addition to his New York City stuff, he did the Unity Church here in Easton on Main Street. I would have also accepted the Universalist Unitarian Church, which it may also be known as, but through the years it's been most commonly referred to as the Unity Church. So next time you're in, you can take a tour, you can peep those windows. That is like our little Louvre right here. Okay, let's round it down to one more shot in the dark here for number 7, your last of round 2 before our next drawing. Question number 7. Oh. All right, question number 7. We're looking for how many buildings in Easton are of H.H. Richardson design. H.H. Richardson, famous architect. So we had building architecture by H.H. Richardson and landscape architecture by F.L. Olmsted, which is how he got that Frederick Law Olmsted H.H. Richardson elementary school built, the FLOHHR, which is now the RO. How many buildings? So you don't need to name them. You don't need to list them. You just need to give us a good, honest shot here of how many you can find in Easton. And once you identify his architecture, you may be able to pick it out on a drive. He loved sort of brown sandstone archways. That was one of his hallmarks. He also had some other hallmarks about his interior decorating. But for the exteriors of the building, those archways seem to be his hallmark. All right, and that's time right there. All right, there are 5. The Ames Free Library, Oaks Ames Memorial Hall right next to the Ames Free Library, the Old Colony Railroad Station, which is now where the Easton Historical Society is, the Ames Gate Lodge, which is not open to the public, and Frederick Law, F.L. Ames Gardener's Cottage. F.L. Ames, he was the one that lived at Stonehill. So 5 H.H. Richardson buildings here in Easton, Massachusetts. All right, so we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back with your round 2 drawing winner. Stay tuned.
My name is Harrison Young, and after 13 years of talk show experience, I seek to bring you the best in interviews with some of the very best guests around, including, and here we are, experts.
I've seen thousands of demons actually come out of the mirror one time.
Wow. Musical guests and artists.
If I say how I feel, would you really listen?
And interesting characters of all types.
I threw that kid across the classroom. Look, he didn't try that ever again.
Wow. Join me at Topic Time on your Easton cable station anytime they want to play it. And what I understand, that's quite a few times a day. I love it.
And we're back. All right. We've been able to categorize all of you quick correct answers. And for the Langwater Farms, we have Harrison. Harrison is the winner of round 2's drawing for Langwater Farms. Let's see, round 1 went to Trev, round 2 goes to Harrison. All right, now there's always the chance that one of you could also win round 3, because however many you get in, that's how many, shares or chances you'll have there. So now it's time for same old story, same old song and dance right here for round 3. Just like rounds 1 and round 2, you'll have that minute, you'll have your answer sheet, and you'll have your chances. So we're going to start right off here with another fun one. Easton's Simpson Springs Soda Company, established in 1878, saw their biggest early commercial success when what unconventional soda flavor was sold at Manhattan's Macy's stores in the early 1900s. So one of their, now you'd consider it an unconventional soda flavor, was their first major hit, and it's a soda flavor that they still carry down at Simpson Spring. So the clock is running. Get thinking about your soda flavors. Maybe the last time you had a Simpson Spring. Right, so they're not carried everywhere. A lot of local places do carry Simpson Spring, but the most prominent was the Macy's stores in the early 1900s, downtown Manhattan. And they didn't have the full collection of Simpson Springs sodas. They had one particular flavor that people were just crazy about. Apparently, in the early 1900s. So let's see, we got 10 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and time. All right, the answer was coffee soda. Coffee soda, they still sell it. It's not their top seller, but in the early 1900s, that flew off the shelves. All right, let's get another fun supernatural avenue of Easton. Where can you find the Easton landmark known as the Devil's Footprint? The Devil's Footprint, cloven hoof is what this footprint looks like. So a cloven hoof footprint where in Easton, etched in stone, is part of our strange supernatural history involving perhaps Nathan the Wizard and the Hockomock Swamp and the souls that dwell there. Evil book of magic, lots of tales of this devil running across the town of Easton, creating the Devil's Footprint. Where? So do your best in describing it. If you're in the right ballpark, we'll understand. If you know, you know. Where can you find the Devil's Footprint? All right, the answers are coming in. A lot of good guesses here, but only one correct answer so far. All right, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer was the center school. The eastern boundary of it, behind the center school, off in the woods, is a large boulder. And on that boulder, you can find the Devil's Footprint. So, fun fact right there. So, somewhere around the center school, Center Street Monument, things like that, we counted. All right, on to question number 3. Question number 3, it's about the Ames shovels. Ames shovels gained notoriety as the shovels that built what famous U.S. railroad? So they got to be the exclusive supplier, I suppose, of the labor that went into what railroad? We're looking for the name of a U.S. railroad, so let's see how well you know your railroads of America. All right. Looks like I can see a couple people know their railroads. Railroad. Which one? When Ames shovels built. They built America, and they built what railroad? There are 2 correct questions, answers for this one. There's the total railroad name, and there's a specific section of that railroad as well. So we'll count those both. Okay, and time is ticking and gone. The correct answer was the Transcontinental Railroad. The Transcontinental Railroad, or more specifically, the Union Pacific Railroad. So the Union Pacific Railroad is the northern, more transcontinental one. And Ames, Iowa is named for the Ames family because the Union Pacific went right through Iowa out west. So the Transcontinental Railroad or the Union Pacific Railroad were our acceptable answers here. All right, some more local flavor. Here we go. Question number 4. Before the Ames family moved in on Easton's history books, who was the former wealthiest man in Easton whose name lives on as a pond at Borderland State Park? One of our more popular attractions here in Easton is Borderland State Park, and the name of their 2 major ponds bears the name of the former wealthiest man in Easton before the Ames family really established themselves. So now the Ames family leaves their mark and their name all over this town, but before them, what was the name of this man? You don't have to give a first and last name. You can just do a Jeopardy rules here. Just the last name would do, because that's how it appears in pond form. Looking for the name of one of Borderland's ponds. that bears the name of the former wealthiest person in Easton, Massachusetts. Pre-Ames Easton, of course. All right, that's time. The answer is Sherman Leach. Borderland has Upper Leach Pond and Lower Leach Pond, spelled L-E-A-C-H, after Sherman Leach, not like leeches in the pond. And he was actually a foundry owner that helped forge those cannonballs. And that area was actually an iron-rich white cedar bog. And he dug out the bog for more iron to make those Revolutionary War era cannonballs. And by digging out the iron bogs, he created those two ponds. So they were named in his honor, Leach Pond, or Upper Leach Pond and Lower Leach Pond. You can circle one for a 3-mile loop, circle both for a 5-mile loop. It's a pleasant walk out there. But Sherman Leach and Leach Pond are the two ponds there, the big ones at Borderland State Park. All right, let's get question number 5 up and ready to go. The Easton cows, known as Langwater Guernsey cattle. So those were an Easton breed, and they were known for producing what color milk? Hint, it's not white, or else we wouldn't be asking you this. This is like a special Easton milk. Apparently it had sweeter tendencies. So what is the type of color of this milk that the Langwater Guernsey cattle were known for producing? So that's a interesting little thing. You may know that offhand, but if you don't, you can at least throw a color out there. So try your best with a color, and Langwater Guernsey cattle bears that Langwater name, which we still have the nice revival of Langwater Farm. So I hope you enjoy that gift card from round 2. All right, and time is ticking right here for, wow, and time is blowing by. This is already round 3, question 5. So after this is only 2 more. And this third round is for Corfinios. Corfinio. All right, the answer was yellow. Sweet yellow milk from these Easton Langwater Guernsey cattle. Very interesting. Okay, so that one, you may not have had a chance, but you could at least throw out a guess. This next one is for our medically minded folks. So here we go. What body swelling medical condition, known at the time as hydropsy, was the underlying cause of architect H.H. Richardson's enormous size? So enormous was this man, H.H. Richardson. He had a condition that they called at the time hydropsy. They had fun names for all these different conditions, like the consumption and rich man's disease and things like that. But now the more correct medical term for this swelling is what we're looking for. And his enormous size also influenced his architecture. So he was known for 2 things: big archways, which maybe he needed to fit through, but also oversized furniture. They called it Richardson Romanesque. He had these massive chairs and tables and couches and sofas in his architecture and building designs, which you'd think, like, oh, maybe that is a statement piece. But then you see the man and you realize that he just wanted to design chairs and sofas that he could feel comfortable in. Many people thought he was just simply overweight, but he had an underlying condition, hydropsy, which is also known now as, as edema. Edema is the name. Different spellings. There are also some other ways of going about that name, but edema is what we're looking for. So this takes us to our final question right here in round 3. Here we go, our last minute on the clock. What long and historic street in Easton is famous in part due to reports of ghostly Revolutionary War, soldiers marching? So we're looking for a name of a street, road, avenue. I'm just calling them all streets right here, so I'm not trying to give anything away. Any kind of street, road, avenue, boulevard, lane, in Easton, which one is famous in part due to Revolutionary War soldiers marching? These ghostly soldiers. Is it related to the place where spirits dwell being tied to the Hockomock Swamp? Is it related to the Devil's Footprint? We'll never know. But Revolutionary War soldiers did march around Easton, as we did have that militia park, militia field, militia muster there. We had the foundries and the forges. Sherman Leach was there making the cannonballs. And we also had some big fights in the King Philip's War. So we're looking for one of the streets or roads in Easton, right here. All right, 3, 2, 1, time. The answer was Bay Road. Bay Road. At that time, they didn't call it a road, they actually called it a highway. That was a highway that, now the way you think about it, it may not be terribly wide, it may have some turns to be a highway, but it connected many major points, and it was one of the first roads that ran through this town. So Bay Road was our major artery and highway here in Easton, Massachusetts, so that is where the soldiers marched. Sort of like how modern-day Route 2 is where the march went from Boston to Lexington and Concord during the shot heard round the world. Bay Road was our marching muster. All right, so this rounds out round 3. We're going to take one more final break before our final drawing. So stay tuned, and we'll see who our winner is.
In 2023, Easton is a tight-knit community of 25,000 people. But with the hustle and bustle of modern life, it's easy to forget our past. A time when Easton's population was 6,000.
Everybody knew who everybody was.
And there was respect.
There was respect for everyone.
When kids enjoyed great freedom and independence.
Everybody was poor at today's standards, but we all were in the same boat and we enjoyed life.
So join me, Priscilla Almquist Olsen, as I explore what makes Easton so very special with some of its lifetime residents.
I think Easton has so much to offer, and if you're living in a community, you have to know it.
Watch Growing Up in Easton Tuesdays at 7 p.m. and Friday at 9 p.m. See you then.
And we're back. All right, we have our round 3 names all entered into your favorite place to be, this pillowcase. So here we go. We're playing for Corfinio gift card. And our round 3 winner is Monica. Monica, let's see what this is all like. There we go. $50 to Corfinios. So we have Monica with Corfinios. We have Harrison with Langwater, and we have Trev with a town spa brought to you by Oak Saints Memorial Hall. So that is our game today. I want to say a big thank you for everybody watching and participating. Hopefully you can also watch it after the fact, but you got to watch it live to win those prizes. I'm your Trivia Master and host, Tim Polatin. This has been a production at ECAT Studios in Northeastern Massachusetts. And again, I want to say thank you for this revival. Today's show was brought to us by Michael Associates, Ltd. And the questions were all made in collaboration with the Easton Historical Society. So for you Eastonites that keep the station afloat, this week was for you. Hopefully you'll stay tuned for our next broadcast, coming soon to a station near you. Until next time, stay classy and take care. Good night.
Any comments on the show? I'm sure, Chris, you can write your letters to Chris Davis, and we'll try to make the show better for you.
Square, Northeastern, don't ask the zip, I don't know.
Survey says.
The price is wrong, Bobby.